Hello, this is Thomas Rathert, and this is my reflection and analysis on the GLOBUS business simulation that I did for my Capstone course for Valeri Chandra. And so let's begin. So just before I start, how this is going to work is I'm just going to talk through this presentation, and you can have this video opened up, and I'll let you know what slide I'm on as I talk through it. So as we go on to the our strategy going in, this is of course what we had set up at the start. We decided to go with more of a middle of the road strategy, kind of in the middle of the market, as we didn't want to go to any sort of extremes and take too much risks in that sense. We after our practice rounds, we determined that we did not want to invest as much into research and development. We thought that was hurting us too much in the practice rounds, and considered dialing that down a little bit at the start. That'll be key moving forward, actually. We wanted to acknowledge where our markets are geographically. We thought that the North American and Europe and Africa markets were the markets that we wanted to continue where we are at for already established markets and all, while maybe not doing as much in the Asia Pacific and Latin American markets. In terms of our finances, we alternated kind of a little bit. We alternated a little bit with our strategy. In the even years, we paid out a dividend, and then our odd years, we repurchased stock and also paid out a loan. We thought that would be kind of a good trade-off in terms of balancing our finances and also putting ourselves in a better competitive advantage in terms of our cash flows. And so through the entire years that we did for our simulation, we decided we kind of broke it down into what our majors were, and my group was actually pretty lucky that we had this that we kind of had this figured out easily, and we were distributed in varying majors. I was, of course, the marketing and sales guy, and that's what I'll focus on mainly on in this presentation. I'm pretty sure my group members will focus on what they mainly worked on. Richard was the finance guy. Allie was the human resources gal, and Mandy was mainly just the management gal and kind of put everything else together from there. So this is kind of our highlights in terms of our market share. You can kind of see that year over year, as this goes from year 5 to year 9, we did drop in market share, but specifically in the Asia Pacific and Latin American markets. We're on the performance highlight slide, and this maybe also is effective on our middle of the road strategy, as we didn't necessarily make too much changes to my sales, as we also found out that part was not the area that was necessarily hurting us as it was with some of our other areas. In terms of our competitive reports, this is kind of a general overview. We're on North America and Europe, Africa here. You can kind of see where we're similar in terms of market share. I know it's a little bit hard to read, but if we go over to Asia Pacific and Latin America, you can see a lot more of a difference there. And we try to keep to our middle of the road strategy in terms of we didn't want to drastically increase something, but realize where our competitors were and stick with them a little bit. So to analyze our company's results, we started out pretty strong. We were actually second in terms of the simulation, but we faltered down to fifth at the end of our competitiveness. I think it wasn't necessarily we were our strategy was maybe faltering is what we thought. We just thought that maybe other companies were able to find a better strategy and gain that competitive advantage over us. In terms of our biggest competitor, we thought it was Company A. It looked like they adopted a similar middle of the road strategy with us, and they also had a lot of similar figures to us, as you see in my above analysis regarding our competition. They were able to but I'd say they're able to reach out to the Latin America and Asia Pacific regions a lot more than we did. We didn't necessarily target those regions as much as we potentially should have, and as a result, Company A was able to unfortunately win out from there. However, we still ended up winning out one of our special discounts in year number 9, which is a plus. We had 3,700 additional units via our 10% discount that we offered. So what would we do differently moving forward? Just briefly, 3 points here. Invest into more R&D and maybe just think through that number more closely. We did, but that didn't. We did try and realize that like R&D would definitely be a major determinant on our success, but perhaps looking more closely in some of the previous reports and what would R&D necessarily affect some of our finances and numbers moving forward. We kind of went from spending a little too much in the practice round to spending too little in the true game. This resulted in us not being able to get right into a competitive advantage right from the get-go, and had us struggling to keep up a little bit when we got into the latter years. And then another big thing was automation. We maybe discussed it a little bit too late. Something that we maybe should have realized is that we should have decided on automation at an earlier time, and maybe just not brought it up at all towards the end, as that was something that we maybe should have considered more at the start, and maybe could have been something that helped us out long term. So that's everything regarding our presentation. Overall, I thought it was a definitely interesting experience, and look for and I'm curious to see what similarities I could and lessons I can bring from this simulation into the real world with my future career. Of course, I am going back to Green Bay for grad school, and I'll see you back here, Valerie, as I believe you're my advisor for that. So until then, take care, and thanks for the semester.